Okay, we are going to relook at the glazing of the panel. We had some clarifications. The first thing we're going to do when we glaze these units is we're going to apply the gasket on the outside first. Can I see which orientation of the gasket Victor applies? So if you look at this gasket like this from far away, which is the outside?
The hook to outside.
The little hook is to the outside on the exterior, and the little hook is to the inside on the interior. So what we want to first do is we want to apply the gasket on the outside raceway of the entire perimeter of the frame by going all the way around, and then we want to seal all the corners with sealant when they meet. But it's going to be a continuous piece. It's going to be actually 4 pieces that go around. And then we're going to seal all the corners with sealant so they don't move and all that. Also, the setting block and the setting chairs already be pre-installed on the sill, and they'll be able to move back and forth. So you just want to slide them about maybe 5-6 inches from either end, so the glass, when it sits on towards the corners of the unit, not in the middle, for weight distribution. Once we have the gasket put all the way around, keep in mind that on the header you have a much wider cavity because there's a stop that goes on the header. So when you take the glass, you want to load the glass from the inside. You want to get to the top first because you have much opening. Tilt it in towards one cavity of the jamb, straighten out the glass, and slide it back towards the middle. And then drop it inside the sill so it sits on the setting block. Once it sits on the setting block, we now have the glass on the setting block. Hold the glass like this for a second. And if you look on the outside, there's the gasket that we would have on the outside. Before we put the gasket on the inside, we have these anti-walk rubber cushions that they're called rubber anti-blocks or anti-walk blocks. And what we do is we load them from the inside. We first stretch them out till they're straight, and we slide them inside the glass all the way into the opening. And once they go into the opening all the way, they're going to go all the way inside. They're going to open up back in the accordion shape. And you can see them in here where they actually have created they're inside here, and now they create a resistance so the glass doesn't walk side to side. Can we see them a little better, or can you raise up a little bit, or it's in here?
It's inside.
Yeah, okay. But they're in here. And you can see what it looks like in here. If you actually move the glass out, it's going to look like that. You see, it opened up like an accordion inside the cavity, and it prevents the glass from walking side to side. So that goes back inside. I just did that to show you, and now we're ready to glaze the inside. Again, the thin part of the gasket goes to the interior, and you start in the middle. It's a push gasket, and you keep pushing, and you go all the way around the perimeter of the frame, and you put sealant at the corner so there's no leakages and no movement. And you always want to start in the middle and work your way to the ends and have a little extra at other ends so it goes all the way into the corner, and it makes a nice corner joint. And when they meet, bring that down.
Oh, I have to put it because it's...
It makes a nice, snug, tight fit, and then the glass is nice and tight in there, and all the corners are sealed, so there's no problem. And you do that all the way around for all 4 glasses. When the glass is finally completely installed and all that, we are going to lower the frame this way so we can show you how to snap the head filler into the head. Typically the frame is already installed, but just for ease of operation, we're going to show you. This assumes the glass is already in the frame and everything is intact. We now have to take this head stop, it's a head filler, and we have to snap that to the inside of the header to engage the glass. Again, there's going to be glass up here when we do that, and this is done on the site, and you simply go in there and you, let's see, what do you have to lock it into? Again, this frame is not really put together, that's why we're having a little trouble with it, but for illustration purposes, what happens is the glass is on the inside, so the stop's on the inside. There's a, hold on, there's a hook here, right? Victor?
This
There's a
channel
hook
here?
here, channel on the frame of the head, and there's a hook here on the stop, and that hooks into place like this and snaps back in, and voila, you have a nice stop that's against the glass. Okay? Now keep in mind though, that stop has to go in after the glass is loaded, but before the gasket on the interior is applied. Okay? That's very important. And then you have a finished product that is installed properly, and everything should be done properly. And that's the way everything is. Once the gasket is in, we would recommend you to a small dab of clear sealant and just put on the edges here some sealant so no water, nothing gets through. And I think we should be fine. And now we're going to go to the other units that have intermediate transoms because they have something slightly different.